Hey everybody, I'm your host Ray Goots. Welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm here with Kyle. Kyle, how you doing today? Kyle Lewis, baby.
I'm good. How are you guys? How are you? I'm saying how are you guys if they're watching this? You can answer too in the comments. But how are you?
I'm good. I didn't watch Clash in Paris, but from what I saw, basically everything we said was going to happen kind of happened. So,
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't really. I mean, if you watched it, you didn't lose. You didn't lose anything by not watching it. If you watched it, I think everyone just worked hard, like we said. It was 3 hours. That was one of the things that stuck out. Like it was like a 3 hour show. For all the shows to be 3 hours, I was very surprised it was that one. Maybe because it was
well,
early.
listen, this is the final 2 hour, the one where we're talking about. So today we're going to talk about In Your House Canadian Stampede from July 1997. This is the final 2 hour pay per view WWF ever does. I don't think they ever do another 2 hour pay per view ever again.
I don't
So
know.
yeah, so get ready. But yeah, WWF, their pay per views are going to be 3 hours or more. Of course, the big news this morning. Now we got some other news with AJ Lee, but you know what? This comes out on Friday. We'll just let SmackDown speak for itself, and then we'll review the fallout next week. How does that sound?
That works. Yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen. We're hearing things, so who knows?
And when this episode comes out, everyone's going to have the answer, so it doesn't help to speculate right now. But I will say, the big news today with AEW, and I have something to say about this, that the pay per views will now be on Max. First of all, great move. That's the great move. Here's the problem: the price for the pay per views is going to be $40 on Max. So you can watch
Oh,
the pay per views, but they're $40 on Max. Now, I guess I could look at it like this. I get Max free with my phone plan because I have
mm,
AT&T. I get Max as a courtesy. So I guess I could see it as well. I guess this is the $40. This $40 makes up for what I'm not saving on Max. Most people don't, so they're spending $16 to $20 on the show on the service, and now they got to spend $20 on the pay per view. Um, this is what I think. I think if AEW wants to actually make a dent in the WWE, they actually want to be competition. I think they have to have these shows free on Max. For some reason, I know we all know Tony Khan has billions, and he pays Swerve Scott $27 billion to wrestle once a week. He has money, but for some reason, this is the thing, and maybe this is part of some deal he has with somebody. He does not budge on these pay per views; they remain expensive. Um, I don't see I don't see this being something that is going to sway people's minds if they were going to watch WrestlePalooza watching this instead. I just don't see it. All this means is the hardcore people who are already paying for Max are just going to save $10 in the pay per views. I don't think it's going to attract any new viewers. How do you feel?
well, I'm finding out about this for the first time. I knew the max part. I didn't know the price. I thought the price would be cheaper. I didn't think we were gonna get it for free or like a 9.99 or anything, which would have been nice. But I didn't think we were gonna. I didn't think it was gonna be $40 because I bought the past few ones on Prime Video, and those are $50.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah,
guess I would do HBO Max because it's $10. Because I have the same deal with you that just through like cable, I don't have to pay for HBO Max. So
yeah.
I guess I would do HBO Max over, but I don't really like the format of HBO Max. So I don't know what I would do personally. But yeah, I would have made it a cheaper price. Maybe he couldn't. Maybe it's a Max thing that they just want they want people's money, extra money. But I think to attract new fans, even if you have some of them free, maybe not this one, even if like Wrestle Dream is free or like
Mhm.
whatever, Full Gear, yeah, what the ones that are not there like Big Four are free or like very low priced, so new people, can check out AEW and not have to spend an arm and a leg. I think that would be a good thing. It should have been cheaper than the $30 a month that you're spending. This
I
show specifically should have been cheaper than the $30 you would have spent on ESPN.
My theory is whoever, because I heard a rumor that WB is a silent partner in this, and I've also, and I think you can surmise the dad has more say than they're letting on. I
Hmm.
think it's one of the non-negotiables where it's like you want to play in your sandbox. you want to fucking, have Will Ospreay chop up John Moxley's arm with a carving knife, that's fine. But one of the non-negotiables is these pay-per-views cannot be below a certain amount of money because at least there you have a cash flow. I have to think that someone has said to him that it can't go lower than this price because if I'm Tony Khan and I have billions upon billions upon billions, I'm going to find a way to get these shows to the fans for free or for like, hey, you pay the HBO Max monthly subscription, you get this included. That's what I would try to do. Especially now with WWE going to war with me on my shows. Um,
Yeah, no, it would have
I
been
I
nice.
do think though there's someone that he has to answer to because we all have someone to answer to that this is a non-negotiable. Whether it's the dad or WB, someone is like, it's got to be this.
Yeah, that has to be it because I think it definitely would have been smarter to have it on either a cheaper price or even free when WWE is offering WrestlePalooza with John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and whatever ever else is gonna happen. Because imagine if they stink up the joint, or you get like this Damian Priest versus Aleister Black. Both were very talented, but you're just not interested. You go over to HBO Max and they're showing fucking hologram or Moxley and Darby Allin. You know, people are like, oh, what's this? What's this Darby Allin guy? You know, I said hologram because I have a friend who does not watch wrestling, and he saw a hologram when we were in a hotel at Comic Con, and he stopped what he was doing to watch hologram. Nothing
All
else in
right.
the show captured him, but hologram was it. So maybe people like hologram.
Okay. Well, yeah, yeah, hologram. I would say like if this was $10 on Max or free, I would 100%. Even though I'm excited for the AJ Lee-ness of it all, I would 100% watch this instead of WrestlePalooza to make a statement to WWE that you're not going to fucking upcharge me. You're just not going to do it, and AEW is going to win. And if I was Tony Khan, I would go after them with the free shows, and I would watch all of them. Even if it, let me just say something. It could be a 3 hour Young Bucks Iron Man match with Nigel McGuinness and Tony Schiavone. I'm still going to have that on to prove a point, and I think a lot of other people will. But for $40, neither one of you are getting my money, and you guys better figure this out because we don't need to watch wrestling. I don't need to do this podcast. I do this out of fun, and you're not going to nickel and dime me for the fun. You got away with it 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. 25 years ago, man, I was spending so much money in wrestling. If you think about it, I was buying all the pay-per-views. I was spending about $90 a month on wrestling when ECW had a show in 2000 money. But I'm not going to do that ever again. So you guys need to figure this out.
No, I agree. I think especially now with wrestling, there's so many different prices. You have to find out like what works best for you. Just on a smaller scale, I was playing 2K25 and they had the My Faction mode, which is a pain in the ass, just a giant cash grab pretty much. And I
Mm.
was into it. I did it, I didn't spend that much money, but it's one of those games that even when you do the work or you spend the money or you get the reward, you're still not guaranteed to get the thing that they want because it's random. So you can like do all the matches and then they're like, "Oh, you get a card from level 1." And you're like, "Why would you put me through this?" So they had something that was so frustrating to play and not fun. Yeah, I couldn't even if I wanted to buy my way into like better stats, I couldn't. I was like, you know what? I don't want to give this fucking game my money anymore. I don't want to give the WWE, at least in this context, my money anymore because you're just kicking me over and over and over again. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way. So hopefully this works out for both of them. But AEW is more expensive than the ESPN $30 a month, so I don't know how that's gonna work. I think they should put some type of low price on this one specifically,
Yeah.
if it's negotiable. If it's negotiable.
Yeah, I think, Meltzer and Sean Ross Sapp and a lot of these other guys are going to pretend like this is a great move. And my friend was like, oh, if you have a friend, it's $20 each. Personally, I don't have anybody that I know out here in California that would want to put $20 in to watch AEW. And, it's like you can make these hypotheticals how it works. Also, if my dad had $1 billion, I could buy AEW. Like, there's all these hypotheticals. at the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna do anything to WWE. I think if you're invested in WWE, you're gonna either get you're either gonna get WrestlePalooza or you're not gonna watch. And in my case, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna watch. So um, I think a lot of I think the problem with AEW is the shows have been better, but there's not a realistic analysis of it. It's like right now, and like tying it into the show we're about to review, yeah, Canadian Stampede blows away anything WCW has done recently. It doesn't matter because for another year, WCW is going to kick their ass. So you need to be honest and be like, well, clearly WWE now something changed, and I think it's because Nick Khan just doesn't like AEW. So we now they're after us. We have to be honest about what we need to do better, and there's just never an honesty about what they need to do. But there's just not an there's just this fantasy world where they're doing great, and I don't really think that's in reality. And it's going to be to the detriment of everybody long term.
I think they're comfortable running their own race because a couple years ago, he couldn't keep WWE out of his mouth. The promos as well, MJF, FTR, leave Adam, Cope, what's he got? Cope. People just kept mentioning WWE,
Hope the
and
dope.
now he may have maybe he got smartened up or wisened up to like just not talk about them and just run your race. So I
No,
think
I
he's gonna keep trying to run his race, and not even consider this award. Just put on his matches, and I don't know if that's gonna work long term, but it
I don't think it's a war either. But someone in WWE is treating it like a war now, and so you are in a war. Like if they keep countering your shows, they added a whole new pay per view. You know what I mean? Where they could have just had. I'm sure Australia would have loved Brock Cena. Don't forget he's got to wrestle in Australia. Like why not give that to those fans? But someone someone in WWE has determined that they need to take out AEW in a way I've never seen any because it's like
it's very obnoxious.
I also just kind of think WWF right now could rehire Chuck Palumbo and make the show around him, and it would still beat AEW. Like, there's like, you don't need to be this aggressive. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it could the main Mike Sanders and Chuck Palumbo could main event WrestlePalooza, and they're gonna outdraw AEW. Like, you
I
don't need
don't
to
know
be this
about
aggressive.
that, but yeah.
I'll put,
Oh my God. Yeah, I
But I'm
think
saying
I
has such a head start in goodwill. You don't need to go. You don't need to go this hard. You can half-ass it and still beat them right now because Tony Khan made a lot of mistakes. I don't think he can come back from with a lot of like the people who were like on the fence. Um,
yeah, I think it's
but for some
I
reason they're ready. They're trying to destroy AEW like now, and that's why I'm saying like I get what Tony Khan's saying, but I get what you're saying that they run their own race, but also you're not gonna have a better opportunity than right now. Nobody wants to pay $30 for this bullshit. Even with AJ Lee coming back. So you're not gonna have a better opportunity than now to say like, hey man, we're a cheaper alternative. All you have to do is get HBO Max, you get everything. And I think people right now will respond to that. $40 not gonna respond to
no, I think people would respond to that or a cheaper price as well, but
it.
this is what they're going with, so hopefully that works out for them. I don't People are still talking about like CM Punk. I think the anniversary of him getting fired was like two
Yeah.
years ago. And people are still like, oh, Tony's biggest fumble and all this other like there's some things people just won't let go about AEW.
I do think it was a fumble. I think that's when a lot of people stopped taking AEW seriously.
Yeah.
I
I think
think
they've recovered. Like I CM Punk seems that he's exactly where he wants to be right now.
yeah,
And that could be on account of burnt bridges, but he is where he wants to be. I think AEW he would have burnt out again. At some point again he would have burnt out and it just wouldn't have worked out. So and I think
yeah,
AEW has found itself to the best of its abilities right now. Because even when I was watching the show All Out, the last one, All Out is the last. All In is this one coming up. I can't. I always confuse All Out and All In. But anyway, like the AEW from 5 years ago, even some of the wrestlers, the Chris Jericho, the Britt Bakers, Sammy Guevara to a lesser extent, they've outgrew some of those people that they were building before, and that AEW looks completely different than what it does now. And I think right now You have good momentum, and it just have to keep that momentum weekly and monthly. And $40 may not be the way to do it.
No, I mean, there's people that are always going to watch AEW, and I think also the reason why like a lot of these reporters try to make that the AEW thing is like a bigger than it is because it's for their benefit. It TNA like Dave Meltzer and a lot of these guys have just given up on covering TNA because nobody watches the coverage, right? I did a TNA post show and nobody cared. Nobody like I would every me and Andrew Lee would I think you were on a one or two and nobody watched those because nobody cares. So
Sorry, guys.
if you're honest with your audience and like yeah nobody cares about AEW, no one's gonna watch your recap shows, no one's gonna watch your preview shows, no one's gonna watch a lot of your content. And AEW is more content, more money, more. So you kind of have to be like, no, this actually is like really doing well because if you give up on it, no, I mean, no one cares about TNA at this point. Like you can do a TNA post show, but who's gonna watch it?
Unless TNA gets the alleged Peacock deal or ends up on a network that people have, people are not going to care about TNA. And if that WWE investment is true, then WWE will get you to watch TNA. And you're just
Yeah,
watching another WWE programming secretly.
then you can. But I think it's to the best if Meltzer beats into his audience that AEW has no chance to ever compete, no one's gonna watch his Dynamite recap show. So you gotta. I get it. I get it. Because like, man, when people don't care about a wrestling company and you try to do a podcast about it, you might as well be talking into your closet.
The NWA podcast.
Dude, we covered. I remember, and I had a good time. Listen, I had a good. This gave me something to do. On Tuesdays. This was the Tuesday schedule in 2020. All right, you want to hear this? This is
Let's
me
do
and
it.
Anthony for NWA Power, then AEW Dark, then TNA because TNA was on Tuesdays at that point, and then TNA. So from like 5 to like 10 o'clock, I was just watching wrestling,
Oh my God.
and listen. I had a lot of fun. Those were like some of my favorite days, but no one listened. No one listened.
A lot of people weren't watching Power. They weren't watching Impact. That's when they were doing like, not Legend House, but like Impact House. I forgot what they called it.
It was Dream, something like that. It was horrible. It was.
Yeah, they had the
By the way,
reality show.
that Scott Demore was a good booker didn't actually watch the show. Because if you watch the show, you'd be like, this guy's fucking it. TNA is better than it was when Scott Demore was in charge. No one, I know he's a guy everyone likes in the back. I'm sure he's a great. The shows were horrible. He wasn't good creative. So,
He had a match, didn't he?
oh yeah, he booked himself in a match like he's a fucking star.
Yeah. Like there's like a Team Canada reunion. They had like a match. I remember things here and there.
Yeah, it was yeah, but yeah, Wrestle House was
Yeah,
the
it's Wrestle House.
yeah. So what a weird man. I can't believe sometimes 29 this is the great 2019 feels like last Tuesday and 2020 feels like 20 years ago.
It's because Seth and Becky are back on top.
Well, yeah, yeah. Also, yeah. But what a weird couple of years we've had. And you know what? Not it our years are not as bad. This as the heart. This is probably the height of Bret Hart's career. So the Canadian Stampede has to be probably the greatest moment in that family's history. And what really gets to you when you watch it is that as soon as this event's over, everything fucking falls apart. And everyone winds up dead or not speaking to each other. This family was sacrificed on Satan's altar so that WWE could be $1 billion company today.
That is
But
definitely one way to put it.
I mean, it's crazy how fast everything falls apart for the Hearts after this event. But at this event, man, this was Bret Hart and his guys should be happy that they had this night because not a lot of wrestlers get a night this big and this emotional.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed this show. What do you think?
I did. I thought top to bottom, this was a pretty good show. Um, I guess if you had to pick like a worst match, it was like Undertaker Vader. But
Even that
like but that was even bad. And it was only four matches. A lot of the last match was long, but it was just worth it seeing the crowd into
Uh,
it, like everyone doing their entrances. No, this is probably one of the better, if not best, in your houses that they put on.
this is I've seen all the 2 hour. This is the best 2 hour in your house ever. And now that they'll never go back to that, it is, that's it. Sometimes in wrestling they go like, "This is the greatest night. This is the greatest night in our sport," because they never did another night like this. So this
That was in
is
and out, man. That was like an hour 48. I was like, man, this is a breeze.
this is it, and we're starting to see the good side of Vince Russo. I feel like this is a very Russo show. It's constantly moving. The thing I like about this pay per view that they've never done again, but it gives a lot. The thing I like when Russo takes over for WWF is that it feels like just because we're focused on the ring, it doesn't mean that shit's not happening all over the building. And the Mankind Triple H brawl, it it you know what it does? It gets those guys over even more, and it doesn't. So Vince didn't have to book like a fifth match that nobody cared about, like the Godwins versus the Headbangers or something, or Crush
But that was
versus
gonna be
Sasha.
the DOA or something, yeah.
Like having this brawl, it's like it lets the audience know like stuff's happening all over the building. Like Austin's trying to get into the room with Brett. It's just little things, and I like that sense because sometimes this is a big thing with AEW. AEW, like fucking, this an example. Adam Cole will turn heel and like put Britt Baker through a plate glass window, and then the next segment is hologram versus Bandito, and they don't even talk about what just happened. You know what I mean? Like it's just like the announcers will be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe Adam Cole turned on Britt Baker." And then the next segment is like, next week on Dynamite, John Moxley's going to take Darby Allin on in a skateboard match, and it's like, you know, I, I, you need to the top storylines need to keep going throughout the show. Is my point.
Yeah. I think WWE used to be victim of that too. I remember it was always Bros Clay. Something terrible would happen. Somebody would get put through a table or have to go to the hospital or get wheeled off of a ramp or something. And then you would hear like Funk is on a roll like the next match. And then they would just go on like nothing happened. It was like Bros Clay versus
That and this show, and it's not
yeah.
even they didn't have to do that much. Just made it feel like stuff is going like just because the show's over doesn't mean stuff's not going to keep happening. So
Yes.
we're in Canada for the Calgary Stampede. So country, I learned from Bruce Pritchard's podcast, and I've learned from like listening to Bret Hart. Calgary Stampede's a big deal. They like their country western stuff over there. They like their little country western bars. This is a big event every summer in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and they decided to take advantage of it this year and have an event. And I think it was a smart move because the shows have been feeling dead, including WrestleMania, except for the main event. And having this hot crowd at this big event made WWF and even this event in Calgary seemed like a big deal.
Yes, absolutely. They had the I mean, first of all, it looks different from everything that you've seen because everyone's in their cowboy hats besides Jim Ross. The crowd is wearing cowboy hats. Vince McMahon's wearing cowboy hats. They had a big Western Southern feel to it, or at least Canadian Western feel. So it looks different than what you've seen before. And they really just like bought into it, which I think
Yeah,
really helped the show.
it did too, and it kind of was like the Sturgis event done right, where this is like a weird event that's big in the town, and we're gonna exploit it, and but we're still gonna have it in the building. But yeah, man, I think it makes Canada look really fun. So the opening video is basically reads you off Vince Russo's fucking philosophy. It says we no longer live in a world of black and white, but gray rather. And
Yeah.
Renegades receive a hero's embrace regarding Austin, and it sets up Austin's Team America, which is basically like not. Listen, the other thing about Team America is that they're all baby faces, but they're not really. Besides the Legion of Doom, they're not really traditional baby faces. Kent Shamrock
Hmm.
is a maniac. Austin's a villain, and Goldust is the bizarre one.
I
So
mean, sets up America perfectly, and no black people. So
yeah,
it's no minorities at all, actually.
yeah, no, there's no minorities at all. Yes, but well, there was supposed to be Ahmed Johnson, but he got injured. So
Oh, I thought he was supposed to be on. Yeah, I saw they do the package for it. So Ahmed was supposed to be on that team, even though he was in
no,
the
no,
nation.
Ahmed was supposed to wrestle the Undertaker.
Yeah, he was versus Undertaker. Yes, there we go.
Yeah, and he got injured. So there would have been a black man on this show, but with a title match, it's two in a
Yeah,
row. But
yeah.
Ahmed was the helmet, and that's why they had to give up on him. Ahmed had the helmet. All right,
Ahmed had the Ahmed.
he injured himself again. But yeah, this is basically what Russo was going for. The thing about it is that like you can say that there's no, but like the Attitude Era, arguably, if you look back, Austin is like a Dusty Rhodes, Hulk Hogan level face, except he's cursing and drinking beer. Like he does it. He's still a face. Like there's still faces and heels. They want to say that because they want to like have the baby faces do like weird shit now or like be a little bit more aggressive. But there's still that's the thing. It's still black and white. Austin, when he becomes a hero, is a hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that always annoyed me when people were like Austin is a tweener. Even like after 1998, I was like, he's pretty full on babyface. Like
Yeah.
after once he started feuding with Vince McMahon, he may have stunned a couple people, but like 99% of the time, like it wasn't like he was teaming up with the Road Dogg one week and then teaming up with like Road Warrior Animal the next week. He was full on babyface.
Oh yeah.
And this one, yeah. Here he's still a little like about it, but the I feel like even though you try and say shades of gray in WWE, you gotta have black and white because you gotta who are you gonna cheer and boo? It's
Yeah.
wrestling.
You gotta have someone that you are eventually like invested in,
Yeah,
110%. Like, I'm here for this guy, and I want this guy to win.
yeah.
And if like I don't care who wins, I just want to have a good time. No one gets over. So, all right. First match on the card in a rematch from King of the Ring. It's Hunter Hearst Helmsley taking on Mankind. Hunter Hearst Helmsley walks to the ring with a lot more confidence than we've seen him before. He is starting to realize that the company's getting behind him and he's stepping up the way he walks to the ring, everything like that. It's so funny because in the video package recapping this feud, they have Jerry Law. Do you think Hunter Hearst Helmsley will ever buy the WWE? And I'm like, well, he fucked his way into it. He definitely did that because now he's running
He
the whole thing.
he got there in some capacity. May not
Yes.
have bought it himself, but he got there in some capacity, which is a wild turn of events.
So this match kicks off, and this was so much better than the match last month. I mean, these guys really just kill each other. They're hitting pedigrees. They're hitting all the big moves. Hunter is taking more bumps than Mankind, which is shocking. But they go and go and go, and they get double counted out, and I don't see that as a loss. I don't see that as like, oh, there was no clean finish. I'm just like invested in these two beating the shit out of each other. What did you think of this match, man?
No, I thought this was a good one. I mean, they had some good involvement with China. Definitely a better showing for Mankind and Triple H. And the fact that this is something that you said earlier, it's going to continue throughout the night. You knew it
Mhm.
wasn't over. It wasn't ending there at that double count out. And to see them go into the crowd and see it go more. The Mankind has hair like in a bun, by the way, which I was like, it was like tied up, which is kind of an interesting Mankind look to have like
Yes.
the tied ponytail with the mask. And it just meant more was coming. And we know what's going to come later. So it worked out.
Yeah, it did. Next up, we have a promo for the Calgary Stampede, and they show it's a 10. Wow, it's 10 days. It's a rodeo festival. They have Diana Hart. What a camera hog she is when she gets on screen waving. Diana Hart, by the way, if you ever she thinks she's the main character of everything. Like she thought tonight was like her night. Like it's no, she is a Looney Tune. The Harts are a very weird family.
They
We
got a
also
lot going on.
have the war. Bret Hart signing autographs. Yeah, like, hey man, it looks like a fun time over in Calgary. I gotta admit. Let's do stand up over there, brother. Let's do the Bret Hart roast at the Calgary
Uh,
Stampede.
Yeah, I mean he has a bar, doesn't he? He has a Hart bar or something.
This like WCW makes me want to go to the South. This makes me want to go to Calgary. Like everything that Bret Hart has done and stuff.
I'm sure this is what the tourists when they look for WrestleMania and they look for all that, like New Orleans, that's what they want. They want what you said there. They're like, I
Yeah,
want you to come to Des Moines because people are gonna want to come to Des Moines, but I don't think anyone wants to go to Des Moines. Sorry if anyone lives there. But no, it does. It looks cool and looks like it's not. It's one of those things, especially if you travel for WrestleMania, which you've done past couple of years. You don't want to just go for the wrestling. There's so much wrestling, but if you can find something nice about the city too, that you can do and explore the city and kind of take that little wrestling break and just see what the city has to offer, that's a good spot to have any event.
yeah. It's I would like them to go back to the Cub. Maybe they're too big for the Calgary Stampede. I don't know. I would like
Mm.
them to do another event at the Calgary Stampede.
I mean,
Maybe 2026.
Natalia's retirement. I don't know. The day
Or
Natalia beats everybody.
maybe they could do something else.
Sorry, Natty. Tried.
Maybe I don't know. CM Punk could wrestle Seth Rollins again because we haven't seen that. So
But he'll wear pink tights. He'll wear the black and pink.
yeah. So, but yes, take Natalie's retirement match. On second thought, I'll stay home tonight. You know what? So
Sorry, Natty.
the Hart Foundation is interviewed in the back by Doc Hendricks after this. Stone Cold attacks them. Bret Hart says, I don't want to beat you up 5-on-1. We're going to prove a point. We're gonna wait till it's 5-on-5. And Patterson and Briscoe, who in a few months are going to be the Stooges, kick Austin out. And once again, all the little things are coming together. They're not there yet. You see like the little ingredients here and there. But I thought this was a pretty good promo, and I love the fact that Austin is like, I don't even need my team. I just want to beat the shit out of this fucking family.
Yeah, no, I thought they did a good job with that. Definitely established the rules for the evening. Even though what we're watching in America, we're all watching the same thing. In America, we want Stone Cold, in theory, to beat up Bret Hart. But if you're watching on the Canada vision, this makes you hate Stone Cold even more.
Yeah,
So just another good job.
this is something different. Okay, so next up, you want to say, oh, we didn't pay attention, WCW. Oh, we didn't really care what they were doing. Oh, if you don't think that this match, you really think Vince really, oh, I would love it if Great Sasuke and Taka Michinoku wrestled. If you don't think this was a direct, like, what can we do to fight WCW move, you're out of your fucking mind. If WCW didn't hire Rey Mysterio and Ultimo Dragon and they weren't stealing the show, there is no way these guys would have ever been on a WWF show in 1997. Hey, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but this is such like we are trying to catch up with WCW. Great Sasuke taking on Taka Michinoku, the birth of the light heavyweight division. Aren't you
Yeah.
excited?
I am. I was excited when I saw this was the match that was happening. I was like, oh shit. The great Sasuke. I don't know. No one could say it's a great Sasuke. Just Sasuke. If you like Naruto, it's like that Sasuke. But the great Sasuke and Taka Michinoku, two people who have had a history with each other, who we've seen multiple different promotions, finally getting to do it in the WWE. And I thought it was good. It was a little more technical than I remember, which is not a bad thing, but it was that like you're right. It was definitely a response to the cruiserweights. I think their second response, but they tried with like AAA and the Royal Rumble with like Cybernetico and Heavy Metal and all those dudes, and that didn't really work out. And I think they try again with like Aguila, who eventually becomes SA Rio. So they tried, but
They
it just wasn't as exciting.
they really like Taka Michinoku. This whole thing was, I think they weren't gonna like, because I think the problem with the cruiserweight division ultimately is that no one's the lead. Like everyone, you know what I mean? Like there's no like focus. And
Hmm.
I think Vince was like, okay, so Taka will be the focus of the light heavyweight division, which I think is a smart move. I don't know if Taka was the guy, but it was a smart move. Like we're gonna focus everything on him. And Taka, though, felt like he owed something to Great Sasuke, which is why he's here. Great Sasuke only has a few matches here to kind of like really Because let's be honest, he's probably a better wrestler than anyone they get in this light heavyweight division. When they really started in a few weeks.
Hmm.
So to get it up and running, he has a few matches with Taka on here in Raw, and I don't know, maybe Superstars. I don't know. I didn't watch that show in '97, and then he goes
I
back.
think they stopped doing matches by that point. I think it was a recap show.
One match,
Okay.
one recaps. So maybe they, because I remember Edge injured one of the Los Boricuas on Superstars when he debuted it, like his second or third match.
It wasn't like Shotgun Saturday Night or nothing.
No, I remember because Raw said on Superstars, and I
Okay, yeah.
put matches on Superstars and Edges were. This is like
You're like, hold on, I don't care about this guy. There are still matches on Superstars. What?
yeah.
I've been missing out.
I don't think maybe they put like that match on there to get people to watch, and then they had Edge
Maybe.
take him out. But I remember like Edge, and you never saw the guy again. Maybe they fired the guy, but Edge injured one of the Boricuas on
Yeah,
Superstar.
I remember. Yeah, it was really brutal looking.
Yeah, well, that's what he gets. That's why he's an AEW guy. So I never liked you, Edge. Burn AEW. Anyway, so they're about to wrestle, but here's the strongest indication because I remember this being after this match, and it's not. Right before this is how you can tell how serious Vince is going to take this division. By the way, right before the match begins, Mankind and Hunter start wrestling, fighting, which is great. I love it. That's breaking out. but again, like it's kind of a message to the audience. It's like, hey man, the real story is Hunter and Mankind, and not these guys. But
Yeah.
we want you to get into this, but we don't really need you to get too into it.
No, you're right. It was kind of weird to have Mankind and AAA. Like it's cool. It's cool to have them brawling, but then yeah, the bell like rings. It's about to ring, and then the fans are once again focused on Mankind and Triple H, and now they have to win back this audience that was gonna watch them and get them reinvested back in Sasuke and Michinoku, which they do, but it didn't help.
So the match begins, a very technical match. First, the audience like whatever, then they get really into it, and Sasuke wins, which I think was good. You set up the rematch for Raw, and you want. So I'm assuming more people are watching Raw than these pay-per-views, so you get Taka to beat him on Raw. The match was very technical. The match wasn't as high flyer, wasn't as high impact as the WCW stuff, but I think it did a really good job, and it's basically like a New Japan match on a WWF show. How did you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it threw me by surprise how technical it was. 'Cause I think the only clips that they show or did show like later on was like Taka doing like the dive and things like that. But it was a well wrestled match. You can't really go wrong with those two. Would have been nice if it picked up more, but I think the WWE, I think what because you said that they were gonna censor about Taka and the cruiserweights have no like face. The face is Rey Mysterio. You want a Rey Mysterio,
So,
you know?
oh yes, I agree.
No, I
Now
know, no, yeah. I just mean like
they wouldn't market it like that. They would have
no.
Ray would matter. Sometimes he wouldn't matter.
Yeah, like WCW for all their faults with the cruiserweight division at times, Rey Mysterio was always a very good focal point, and like if you needed to look at one guy, you could look at Rey Mysterio. This is coming from someone who didn't like Rey Mysterio growing up because he always beat Psychosis, who was my guy, and Psychosis won maybe twice against this man. So
You
it was very
know,
frustrating. But yeah, this was a really good match. And if they had a face, like if the Great Sasuke was their face, there's somebody a little more charismatic who I don't know who that would have been at the time in '97. It may have worked out, but they were just throwing stuff at the wall.
can I tell you who I would have Vince Russo wanted to bring in and Vince said no? But I think looking back, he would have been a good centerpiece, much better than Brian Christopher. Was Disco Inferno?
That I heard about. I just read this thing that Rockabilly. He was supposed to be Rockabilly. He was inches away from being Rockabilly, and it didn't work out.
He's fired around this era because he didn't want to put over Jacqueline, and he
Yeah,
eventually Halloween having that he loses to Jacqueline, and Eric Mitchell's like, "Nah, you got to put her over, and that's it." But here's a moment where Russo had more power, wants to bring him in. I kind of think Disco Inferno would have brought a lot of what Vince Sports Entertainment to the thing,
yeah,
even a good counterpart to Taka instead of Brian Christopher. Brian Christopher just didn't have it. I'm sorry, Disco Inferno. But can we agree? I know no one likes Disco Inferno, but can we agree that Disco Inferno is better than Grandmaster Sexay? I, for one, will stand on that hill.
I mean, that's not even a fight I want to have, but, but yeah, I don't have a strong interest in either one. But this Inferno was very charismatic, very interesting to watch. So, I mean, I loved him and Alex Wright together as the Dancing Fools. So, I think if you had a more charismatic villain in Disco Inferno, it could have worked out for Taka Michinoku and the
And I
light
think it's
heavyweight division.
very different right now.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Christopher didn't have his thing yet. He didn't have the Grandmaster Sexay. They was in the he was still just was he Jerry's kid? He's not Jerry's kid.
And that was a weird gimmick too, because he looked so much like Jerry Lawler, and it was just like, come on, man.
He's
Like,
just like, LOL, this is funny. Although, do you remember the video game WWF Attitude?
yeah,
The
but
PlayStation the theme song, the Too Much theme, at some point they have him go, I'm not Jerry's kid. And like in the song, which the sign of playing the game too much. I was
I
a
don't
young kid.
weird. I think like when Brian, I think like Lawler treated Brian more like a friend or coworker than like his son. Like he wouldn't
Mm,
like if someone was mean to him, he would just say to him, "You got to handle it yourself." Like I don't know, dude. Like, hey, dude, you got to just take care of that. But
yeah.
it would have been funnier if like he was a daddy's boy and Jerry Lawler would constantly like leave commentary to help him. Like that's my son, Jr. Like like
Yeah.
been more of a fun gimmick than I'm not his son, and because what Vince is saying with that is this guy doesn't actually like or love his son. Like that's the real
Yeah.
that's Vince's underlying message because he gets a kid. Oh, you don't actually like or you actually don't care about your son. Oh, that's your gimmick now that your dad doesn't love you.
Yeah.
That's your
It's such a weird WWE thing to do too, so it's really messed up. But I think a Daddy's Boy thing would have been hilarious to
that would
have
have
to
been.
happen.
And if Lawler's like, well, I don't actually like my son, I would have been like, I don't give a shit. This is the gimmick. This is you're both big over like this. Shut the fuck up. Like,
You want USWA to keep getting checks? You better do this.
yeah, 'cause I think it would have been anyway. But listen, it wasn't meant to be. Disco Inferno is a failure. Grandmaster Sexay a failure. That's
The
the way it
chart
is.
buster. The chart's busted on the both of them.
So more brawling. China is getting involved. This is probably the best thing they've ever could have done for Hunter. I gotta say, I'm
He
not a
got
Hunter.
busted open at some point.
He gets busted open. This was like it was needed after last month. It was needed because I don't think people were ready for Hunter to get pushed. But I think after tonight, and remember, I'm a guy. I know what's going to happen in the future, and I was very impressed with Hunter at this show. And I think if you are watching in '97, you're like, okay, I think this Hunter S. Helmsley guy has something. You know?
Yeah, I think it did a great job of shedding away the blue blood image, which they're slowly continuing to do. And now you can see like this guy's not just a coward; he's a fighter. They're gonna continue fighting with each other, and I think it's like you said, he needs. If he didn't thank Mankind Mick Foley in his speech, he really needs to because that really between these from June to August, that cemented him. If that failed, we would not be having Triple H as the seat chief officer, whatever he is right now.
Yeah. No, this
Chief
was
content officer.
yes, this was a this more so the King of the Ring. This was the coming in. This is the sign. You got to take this guy seriously. Like this guy's not. I
Hmm.
mean, he is a goof, but it's not. We can push this guy. The audience is going to buy it. All right. So now we get to a promo. Ahmed Johnson was supposed to wrestle. He got injured, and that's about it. So Ahmed never even gets
I
wrestled ever again in his
think
life.
isn't he in like the '98 Royal Rumble or something, and then like he's gone.
His last match is at No Way Out '98. It's a 5-on-5. Him, Shamrock, and some other guys. I think maybe the DOA take on the nation, but then that's it after that.
Still okay. He's still going after the nation.
Yeah, bro, get ready. Um, okay, Vader. Vader gets Vader and Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer is now with Vader. He has revealed the secret of Undertaker. The Undertaker murdered his family.
Hmm.
Murdered his family. Murdered his brother. They're saying Kane, but right now in the saga, Kane is also believed to be dead, thanks to the murderous actions of Undertaker. Now, as we know, The story comes out that Kane lit the fire, and then it switched around again to Undertaker. Undertaker does admit after he turns on Kane at Judgment Day '98 that he did set the fire, hoping to kill Kane, and he was happy to kill his parents when he reunites with Paul Bearer. So the official story, right now, the story here is that Undertaker put the fire on by accident. Then it's going to change to Kane set the fire. Then it's going to change to Undertaker did it with malice. Undertaker admits to murder on live WWE television.
And not a drop of prison time.
No. Why should he? Listen, come on.
You can't arrest a dead man. He's dead.
I know. So, but right now, Undertaker set the fire by accident. That's what we're going with right now. All right. I don't know why no one ever called for the police records or anything, but anyway, Vader is with Paul Bearer. Undertaker comes out, and these guys have a match. And I do have to say that this is a little bit more of a WWF style Vader match. Vader still is hitting hard, but he's not hitting as hard as he used to.
Hmm.
Um, I really enjoyed the chemistry these two guys had, and I kind of feel like this is the last like good to great Vader match that he has in WWF. He becomes a jobber. It was when I got back into wrestling, it blew my mind that they were booking Vader as a jobber, but he becomes a jobber pretty soon. This is his last big title match. So it's kind of like a last hurrah for Vader, at least on this side of the equator, because in Japan he keeps going. What do you think?
No, it was a good match between the two, Undertaker, Vader. Like I said, the probably the worst match on the show, but not in the. If you had to pick a worst, that would be the worst match on the show. Uh, but it was good, and they continued to tell the story. I was surprised that they Vader took the tombstone because sometimes when Undertaker fights big guys, he just choke slams them and that's it. But this one, he just he did like a super choke slam. And then once he does a second choke slam, and then he tombstones him, which makes Vader still look very impressive. But then, like you said, this was just the end of Vader. Vader was over, like ruined once Shawn Michaels fucking had a tantrum at SummerSlam '96, and that was the end of Vader.
That was the end of Vader. So we have a little, and he wasn't supposed to have this match. This was supposed to be Ahmed's match, but instead
I
he has
mean, way better match.
way better match. He has his moment, final moment in the sun before Vince completely gives up on him as a human being. Now we get to the back, and Team USA is cutting some promos. Everyone has some stuff to say. Austin just fucking leaves, walks to the ring. He's like, yes, I got nothing to say. And now we have the greatest girl group of the 1990s, the Farmer's Daughters.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
I have never heard of these women before. Apparently their hit single was Cornfields and Cadillacs. So they weren't playing the radio stations me and you were listening to,
Not at all.
for sure.
They were like Canada's answer to SWV, I guess. I don't know. It was Calgary's specific version of SWV.
So yeah, so they sing the Canadian national anthem, which I like. Listen, probably the best use of these women ever in their lives. Um, it was good. We get introduced to the premier of the province, Alberta, Ralph Klein, and then they introduce Stu and Helen Hart. They also get a big pop. This is, like I said, this is the red carpet being rolled out for the Hart family. What a
Oh
moment!
yeah.
The
That was
heels,
really good. Sorry.
it's okay. The heels come out, and now they're the faces in America, but they're the heels out here, and they don't get pops; they get booed. Austin gets a lot of boos. It's different. But I like the fact that they all. I like the fact one of the little touches of this is that these guys go in the ring, and the Hart family waits on the ramp. Oh, the U.S. and was it weird seeing like Austin get like boos and like being treated like a piece of shit?
I remember it growing up, so that one wasn't that weird. It doesn't sound as loud on the TV, so it must have been just one of those things that's like loud. It just didn't pick up because he gets booed a lot louder when he's in the actual match. To me, it seemed like the only people who did not get booed and possibly out of respect were the Legion of Doom. Like it wasn't like boo, but
It's still
until like Animal like breaks up a pin later. But I think people just like Hawk and Animal so much, or just remember the Legion of Doom that they kind of got the pass. Ken Shamrock, no one cared. Goldust, they don't care. Stone Cold, of course, is the public enemy number one. So, but good showing power for the Legion of Doom, or they were just afraid that these two fucking bikers are going to hurt them if they do something. So, sheer out of fear.
Legion of Doom still had a lot of goodwill left. Vince ruins it by doing the drunk angle.
Both Vinces,
Yeah, both Vinces. But yeah, they had a lot of good. There
two
was still
Vinces, like two princes, spin doctors.
it was still juice in the tank, and they were like, "No, there's not." Okay, so this is where the show gets taken to the next level. Um, Brian Pillman walks out. Now, I've been following Brian Pillman on this podcast for years. He has never gotten a pop the way he gets when he walks out tonight, and he's going to be dead in 3 months. So I'm like watching this. I'm like, this guy's always deserved a pop like this, and you can
Hmm.
take it aback because he's never heard a crowd cheer for him like the way they're doing. Because WCW went out of the way to make you not care about this guy. Even though he was killing it in the ring for
Yeah,
years, and he gets a pop, and I'm like, man, I wish he had kept going because I feel like he would have got pops like that in the Attitude Era, and even nowadays, like coming out for the Hall of Fames or for let.
yeah.
And this is it. This is the biggest. Because I said, oh no, I mean, I'm like, no, this is the biggest pop this guy's ever gonna get, and and then it's over, and then he's dead. He's dead pretty
Yeah.
soon.
No, it's very sad, it's frustrating. This was one of the ones that's not, I mean, not to just get into his death, but it's not about I think it was not really drug related. It was just he had a heart disease that was hereditary. It was drug related? Oh. I know
I
they
think
said there was like some drugs in it. I mean, maybe that exacerbated it. I don't know.
Jim
But
Ross said on his podcast, if he wasn't doing what he was doing, he wouldn't have had
was it,
this.
oh, Jim Ross.
Yeah, on his podcast.
Yeah, well, forget everything I said there. Well, the pop was cool for Brian Pillman. Someone who I also thought deserved it. Loved seeing it. Loved seeing his shirt, the music, the dun 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 dun. Dun. It was great, especially as a long term Pillman watcher.
Then Jim Neidhart walks out, and he gets a bigger pop, and
Yeah,
he will ever get in his life, and we can confirm that because he's dead. Um,
you don't have to
he
say this for everybody. It'd be very busy.
a huge pop. British Bulldog comes out with his wife. No, that pop is even bigger than that. Then Owen Hart comes out. Owen Hart again. Owen Hart and Brian Pillman seem very overwhelmed by this pop because um, even when they were faces, they weren't over like
Yeah,
Sting, Luger, or anybody. So they never really. And I think Owen was just like, wow. And then Bret Hart comes out, and the place just goes molten. You know what? I haven't heard a WWF crowd this loud in years watching these pay per views. In years, they are the hottest I've seen. They have been this hot ever. WCW has hot crowds. They're not getting the hot crowds like this. People, the building is shaking for Bret Hart, and it's such a cool moment because this family, if you follow along the show, they've been feuding, they've turned on each other, they beat now they're united, they're together, and everyone loves it. I love it.
Bret Hart. Even though Michael Jackson came out, the way they were reacting to Bret Hart, and rightfully so, because Bret Hart deserves a pop like that. I mean, the whole family did, and it was really cool to see. I've watched this before, just on its own, like just watching the pops and watching this match, and it's just so satisfying. Like you said, the rest of the things go downhill for them. So to see this specific moment for all of them it's just really heartwarming. No pun intended. It's really heartwarming.
It's nice because man, like in 2 years, two of them are dead, and one of them's like a cripple, and Jim Neidhart's doing crack behind this Bruno's house,
I
and Bret,
mean,
bro,
get the A24 movie ready, I guess.
bro, by January 2000, British Bulldog is being forced to go to rehab by Vince to keep his job. Jim Neidhart's doing crack in his basement. Brian Pillman's dead. Owen Hart's dead, and Bret Hart has to retire because of his concussion. And it's like they just get wiped out, and it's fucking crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Um, and I'll get into more of that in a second, but I do think a lot of it. The more I think about the Montreal screw job, the more of all of this is kind of on Brett because him reacting the way he reacted kind of ruined that family. Like if he just said, "Fine, I'll submit to Sean," I think a lot of things would have been different. You
I
know,
mean, yeah, but hindsight, who knows that
but
catastrophically how bad life was gonna go.
it is crazy how bad and how good everything from that moment, how bad things get for that family and how good everything goes for Vince. I mean, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I feel like I think about this every now and then. How would Bret Hart would have even fared in the Attitude Era? Would he have been just Kurt Angle a couple years before Kurt Angle? Like what would have been
I
his
don't
role?
I don't think this is the
Do you
thing.
get the Attitude Era if Bret Hart is still there?
I think if if Bret Hart had agreed to the pay cut, he might have lasted. I This is the problem. This is the problem with the whole Bret Hart Vince McMahon thing. We're gonna get into it. If they book Starcade correctly, and all common sense would indicate in July of '97 they're gonna book Starcade correctly, WWF is fucked. All they needed to do is have Sting beat Hogan clean, and WWF is fucked. And he did not he was looking at that Bret Hart was going to be a huge issue on the budget. Now, if Bret Hart agreed to take a huge pay cut and stuck around, I do think he would have been rewarded financially years later. I mean, Vince is a piece of shit. I don't know. Maybe he would have. But also, I don't think Bret and Sean working as top guys. Like, this is a fun moment, but I think you did kind of need to have both guys go away for the company to survive. I really do feel that like if they booked Starcade correctly, Vince was going to be in serious trouble. You know?
No, I agree. I think if you book Starcade correctly, your WCW's around at least for a little while longer, or at least has some goodwill left in it, a lot of goodwill. But they didn't, and it was the first big hit,
Yeah.
first big blow, and then
And
that just kind of continued to spiral.
he got Mike Tyson, and I think he needed Mike Tyson. It just Bret Hart could spend all of '98 having 5-star matches with Mankind, The Rock, D'Lo Brown, Val Venus, even fucking. I do think Bret Hart takes Val Venus in '98. That's another guy whose life's completely different until he fucking listens to Joe Rogan. But what I'm saying is, like, yeah, but I don't think none of that's gonna matter if you don't have Mike Tyson come out at WrestleMania. I just don't, or the night
Yeah.
after.
I think if Brett stays, you're not getting Shawn. You're getting either a triple threat where Austin doesn't pin Shawn Michaels, he pins Bret Hart, or if Shawn's back, if everything stays the same, Shawn's back gets totally demolished. You get Austin Brett 2 for the WWF Championship,
But
and Austin gets Austin Brett 3.
you also have to think, Bret Hart stays. What maybe they wouldn't do Undertaker Shawn in a casket match. Maybe they'd have Bret Hart Shawn 3. Like
Maybe, yeah,
winner takes on Austin at the WrestleMania. So, but
yeah.
we'll get
We do know now. We do not know.
the match starts. Brett and Austin are going. The building's on fire, and then Jim Ross says something. There's all these there's all these things that like going to indicate there's a camera crew from a documentary about Bret Hart here right now.
Nice.
And Vince's like, oh, I hope it's going to be some great footage. That
Sure is.
that becomes wrestling with shadows. That's what that becomes. So everything is coming together. This is the best 5-on-5 match I've ever seen. This is the best um, Survivor Series style match I've seen. I think the Survivor Series 2001 match is also very good. That's WCW Team Alliance, sorry, versus Team WWF in a winner take all. That match is pretty good, but this is just as good, if not better. I thought this was phenomenal. Everyone stands out. I mean, the great thing about a match like this is that if you have Animal versus Jim Neidhart one on one, it's not going to be good. But in a match like this, all these guys can get in, do the little thing, and they all excel in one way or the other, and everyone elevates everyone. And that's the mark of a great team. See, a great tag team. Okay, Will Ospreay and Bret Hart aren't going to be a great tag team, right? But
Mm-mm.
Will Ospreay and Otis might be a great because you want people that complement one another. That like it's different. It's two different styles, and it creates like it's exciting, and that's what this match is. There's 10 guys with 10 different styles doing their thing, and I just think it's a phenomenal showcase for all 10 guys. All 10 guys should be so proud of this match.
I think so too. I think you had everyone had a little bit of a moment. I remember just seeing like the British Bulldog like pick up Animal like a baby pretty much and do his running power slam, which I was like a little surprised. It was also one of those moments like because I was watching this match with my brother and he was like, "Did the Hart Foundation and LD ever have like a match? Maybe on a house show, or maybe not a Saturday night's main event. I don't think so. Maybe once. I don't know."
Owen and Bulldog fight the LOD at the April in your house. Not that great.
Yeah, I know that one. I mean, like the Hart found Brett Anvil.
Oh man, that would have been okay. Yeah, that they should have done. That they should have done. I mean, they
Yeah.
wrestle a tag match at Bad Blood. I said they should have had the Hart Foundation take on Legion of Doom. Now that's if he's not going to be in the main event, that's a fucking match for Bret Hart. But
Yeah, so it was just a really like different way to see.
after
Yeah,
they never
after
team again in '91 WrestleMania.
they never team. Oh yeah, well that's also cool to see too. They don't do the heart attack, but they do the elbow drop. They briefly do like a move together. So it's just like if you liked all these people, especially the Hart family, you get to see them at their absolute best.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. So the ending comes. Stone Cold goes over to Stu and attacks him, and Stu has 15 heart attacks. And then what I've heard from a lot of people, Bruce Hart kind of goes off script, and
It looks like it.
Bruce Hart and the other Hart decide to go in business with himself because let me just tell you something about Bruce Hart. Bruce Hart feels like he should have everything that Brett and Owen had. He for a guy who grew up in wrestling doesn't seem to understand it, and he constantly goes into business for himself. He went into business for himself at SummerSlam '93. He's going into business for himself here. He gets a little bit overzealous. The Ken Shamrock and the Legion do have to go over there. Stone Cold gets back in the ring. Owen schoolboys him. One, two, three. Austin attacks the family again. The cops arrest him. The first time ever Austin's being arrested on TV.
Ah, yeah.
It's going to become an ongoing thing for this poor guy. And apparently being arrested doesn't mean apparently just means that you get sent home in handcuffs, and they're like, all right now, and then don't do it again tonight, but tomorrow's a whole new day, so
Yeah, you go to wrestler jail. Well, there's no charges ever.
no charges ever. Yeah, remember when they put Roman Reigns in jail or Vince McMahon in jail, and then he broke out. He got out in time to like interfere in Roman Reigns' match. I don't know.
Yeah, because I had this shirt, the mugshot shirt. I was into the mugshot shirts for a bit, like fake mugshot shirts, not like real people.
That era too. Like that was the last time they tried it. They had Roman get arrested, and people didn't care, and they were like, okay, they should. Yeah.
Yeah, he should beat up Bronson. Well, he got destroyed. When
Oh
he
yeah,
comes back
he comes
in
back arrested.
4 months, he can beat up Bronson Reed and get arrested.
He's gonna come back for Survivor Series. So,
Yeah, whatever the War Games is, which I know we talked about last week, he'll probably be in that. But yeah, the match was good. It did look very weird with the hearts. Once the hearts got involved, some hits looked more personal than not. Bruce Hart always looked like a problem. Like I remember even in '93, he also always looks cold because his lips are always pursed and he has a leather jacket. He always looks like someone who is just always cold. So like I know he's from Canada, but that's just the vibe I got from him. But he just why? I remember there was a story, I think it was about Survivor Series 93. He was trying to call the match with Shawn Michaels and the Knights. And Shawn Michaels, back when he and Brett were actually friends, was just like, hey, which one of you was the fucking WWE champion? And he was like, my brother. So he's like, why don't you let the WWE champion like call the match and not you? So like
wait. Um, you
it's
know,
got a problem, I guess.
every sibling in that family, whenever I've seen an interview with them or read or heard passages from their books, everyone comes across extremely weird except for Brett and Owen. And I think the only reason like Owen doesn't come across as weird is because he didn't do like out of character interviews.
Yeah,
I do have a feeling though, if Owen had lived and gotten the podcast game, or I think he would have said some weird. I think not nothing like I'm not saying he would have been like a racist or a trim. I think he would have just said some shit like, "Oh, this guy's weird as well." You know what I mean? They all
yeah.
got very weird. Even Brett, who's the most normal, sometimes says stuff that's a little like, "Oh, you're a little off. You're a fun off, but you're a little off." You know?
I can't even imagine the Owen podcast. Like the rib of the week brought to you by Outback Steakhouse, where you can get rib. You're like, what?
I mean, he did. The one odd thing about Owen is, and I get he did this. He would stay over with the fans, and I get like saving money, but also that is a weird risk to take.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that is not something you're doing in 2025. 1997, maybe, especially if you're a guy. But I can't see anybody now in 2025 like staying with a fan that they don't know, like an actual like for like a just a random fan. Person would be on Zoom, not Zoom, on TikTok, just putting selfies of the person. You saw the thing with Rhea Ripley. She's trying to walk, which her
Yeah,
being unguarded, insane, by the way. And then getting mobbed by just a sea of fans. Like, it's wild that Owen would do that. Guess he had
it's
some
a
fans that he really trusted.
it's a weird family, but they win, and then the entire family comes into the ring, and everyone hugs.
Everybody.
And it is Bret Hart has said that this was the final happy moment he had with his family.
Oh, jeez, it's
I
horrible.
don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh.
No, it's horrible. I get it. And now is you're also like spot the person like you see D.H. Smith. I think I saw Teddy Hart. I think he was the one in the black shirt and the chain. Natalia comes in. I didn't see
Oh,
Tyson Kidd.
that's it. He's there. They
Yeah,
pause one documentary. They pause and they show you him, but he's
yeah.
outside. He is in that ring. I forgot about Teddy Hart. That's another complete lunatic.
That's
That's another,
something in that Hart family water, man. Natalia
uh,
seems pretty sane.
who?
Natalia.
I mean, yeah. I mean, isn't wasn't she like a little
Sane's the wrong word.
on Total Divas though? Didn't she do some weird shit on that show?
I mean, everyone did weird shit on this show. They were, of all the things that are scripted in wrestling, that was probably one of the biggest.
I'm I'm very surprised they stopped that. You would think that like Peacock would be like, all right, you may have we've been lost. Can we have Total Divas back? Because people did enjoy that show. I didn't, but people did.
I enjoyed it for a little while. I think they're trying to figure out a way to bring it back. I think what's old is new in WWE again, and especially with people like Bianca Belair, Tiffany. I think maybe even Bianca Montez was a test run, and I don't know how well that did
I don't
because
think
you
that
can't
I
find
think
it.
that's how you mentioned it.
Yeah, yeah, you can't find it anywhere anymore. So like Bianca Belair and Montez or Tiffany Stratton and her and Ludwig Kaiser, Chelsea Green. You could have Matt Cardona there. So I think you can have some fun with it again if they want to do that again. Or maybe it was just a gigantic pain to film and nobody wants to do that.
Like we're doing it with Unreal, and that's all we're gonna do. You know, maybe.
Yeah. Also, you're gonna have Unreal, which is supposed to be real, and then Total Divas, which is also supposed to be real, and it is not at all. Would be kind of, I guess, the contrast.
I haven't watched reality TV in so long. I don't miss it. Fuck reality TV. All right.
Not my favorite thing.
Show's over. I give it the highest marks. I think it's a show you need to go out of your way to see, and I do think this is the turning point. We'll see how we feel about Bash at the Beach next week, but I do feel like the tide is turning. WWF is coming back in the battle against WCW.
Oh yeah,
What do you think? What do you think?
I agree. I think this was the great show that like is like, hey, here's where we're gonna be going forward. Not everyone's gonna make it there with us, but here's where we're going forward. I don't know what happens at Bash at the Beach yet either, so I'm excited to see what happens there. But no, this is really awesome.
I've never seen the show. I do believe I've seen the Dennis Rodman match on a Hogan compilation or maybe like a WCW compilation DVD. I'm not sure. If I did watch it, I like barely paid attention because I just assumed it's bad. Somebody made a list of like the top 200 wrestling matches of the last 25 years or the last 30 years, something. And that he put that as number 150. And someone was like, really? And he's like, yeah, that's a great match. So we'll see. I mean,
Oh,
he put a lot of Japan and he put a lot of Japan and a lot of like, you know, a lot of like wrestling nerd shit in that match. And this Dennis Rodman match made it. So that has
hey, yeah. No, if he's putting the Masawas and the All Japan and New Japan stuff on there, maybe I'm excited to rewatch.
yeah. So let's go over the next 4 weeks. Next week, Bash at the Beach 97. Hulk
Yeah,
Hogan, Rodman versus the Giant and Lex Luger. In 2 weeks, SummerSlam 97. That's when Pratik will be joining us.
I
Um,
don't get SummerSlam craziness. It's okay.
but
As I don't get SummerSlam, I gotta have to watch it on my own.
we're gonna do a three-man booth.
Let's
You know.
do it.
Then in 3 weeks, you're gonna get it. You got to do SummerSlam. Come on, we're building to the. This is the second moment. This is the moment where everything falls apart for Brett. Oh, that's the other thing. The Austin. I forget things fall apart in that because Owen injures Austin, and that kind of fucks. Anyway, we got a lot
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
So that's three. That's 2 weeks. 3 weeks, Road Wild 97, Luger versus Hulk Hogan, and then in 4 weeks, we're back in ECW, DCW Hardcore Heaven. Main event is Terry Funk versus Sabu versus Shane. What
Mm.
are you looking forward to?
I mean, obviously SummerSlam '97, but the rest of them, I don't remember that well. I don't remember Hardcore Heaven that well. I don't remember Road
Yeah,
Wild at all. Hog Wild, Road Wild. I remember Luger, winning on Nitro, and
but
then I
this
guess
he loses the belt back to Hogan in Road Wild.
yeah, which okay. I mean, I guess the Papa rating or something. I don't know. What Papa what?
It was the 100th Nitro. It was the first 3 hour Nitro.
Oh, okay, that's why.
But
Still
listen,
cool.
that was smart. I would not have Hogan win the title back that fast,
Yeah, that's what I was like. That was so quick.
but we have to see the match to judge it, really. So
I'm okay.
uh,
But yeah.
you're okay with that. All right, guys, that's the show. Quick one this week. Listen, when the shows are great, there's not a lot to talk about. Sometimes when shit is bad, like let me tell you something. I used to go on rants when Diesel was fighting Mabel every fucking
Oh no.
like when shit's good, and I don't want to really talk about the big news. Um, it's gonna be in and out, so it's kind of fun. Follow the podcast, Goots' Wrestling Pod on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok, Ray Goots Comedy. Follow me, Ray Goots. Subscribe, leave us comments, tell us what you think. Kyle, what do you have to plug this week?
Uh, by the time this comes out, just keep following at Keep It 5 Star and Character Select Comedy. Those are the things that I'm doing. Those are where you'll hopefully find me and see me do shows.
Yep, and thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week for Bash at the Beach. See you then.